Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. And guess what? I had a mental breakdown, and we're going to talk about it today. Now, if you haven't already, hit that red button down below so you can subscribe to my channel and be notified when the next video comes out. Now, without further ado, let's get to today's topic, shall we? So the other day, I was thinking to myself, wow, it's going to be a whole year since I last worked a 9 to 5 job. It'll be a whole year come this August. And the reason why I'm not currently working is because I had a mental breakdown working this previous job. So I worked there for 7 years. And no, I'm not going to give any names, the name of it, but I worked there for 7 years. And my position there was administrative assistant. I get tongue tied. But my position there was administrative assistant. And basically, I was just the gopher of the office. So within the office, there were three companies. There were two property management companies and one real estate law firm company, and I worked for all three. Um, and it was a schedule that I had never had before. You know, with a typical job, you work for one company and you do tasks for that one company. Well, I had to learn the entire office, the ins and outs of the entire office. And my schedule was some part of the month I would work for the property management companies, and the other half I would work for the real estate law firm company. Now, after a while, in the beginning, it was kind of interesting because, like I said, I never worked a job like that before where I worked for three separate companies all within the same location. Um, but after a while, that schedule started to take a toll on me because, like I said, I was considered pretty much the gopher of the office. If there were things that needed to be sent out, or copies that needed to be made, or phone calls, or covering the receptionist desk, that was all on me. While everyone else had a set position and set task. Um, but after a while, it started to take its toll on me. And I think around probably the 6th year of working, maybe even the 5th year of working there, I started to see a difference within my mental state. Now, just to give a little bit of a backstory, the job I had before then was TD Bank. And when I worked at TD Bank, um, yeah, there was the toll of working, being open 7 days a week, but I didn't work 7 days a week. I probably worked about 4 or 5 days a week, and dealing with customers and customer service and things like that. But I always had a positive mindset. I always had a little time to do what I needed to do for myself. But then when I moved on to this other job that paid a little bit more, um, that window kind of got taken away in some areas. Certain areas, I was now able to go to nighttime events. Um, I'm an aspiring game dev and game studio owner. So that allowed me to go to these gaming events at night, but it didn't leave much room for anything else that I needed to do as far as myself. And by the 6th year of doing the same repetitive work and the same thing over and over again, I was starting to see a toll on my mental health. I was starting to see old patterns come up where I didn't want to do anything. I really didn't want to go outside as much. Thank God for my small circle that I have that plan things for me to do. Otherwise, I'd be still in bed all day. Well, during the times where I wasn't working. But I noticed around the 6th year, I was definitely done. And once the pandemic came and we all were sitting at home and we were working from home, I couldn't work from home. The majority of my work dealt with being in office. So I really couldn't work from home. So sitting there for the what was it, 4 months, 4 or 5 months for me, sitting there with no work to do, no office to go into, I started to reflect, and I'm sure most of you did as well, started to reflect on your life. I started to look at things and look at where I'm at as far as being employed goes, as far as my happiness goes, as far as my self-worth goes. And I noticed that I wasn't in the place that I wanted to be. And it took me this long to get there. I wasn't in the place where I wanted to be. And as the pandemic went on in 2020, we started to filter back into the office, and it wasn't every day. Some people were there maybe once a week. Some people were there 2, 3 times a week. And as the pandemic and the rules and everything and all the stuff started to lighten up a little bit, more and more people started to come in. And I noticed myself starting to pretty much deteriorate and get worse and worse and worse. Now, my mental breakdown really didn't hit me until one day when I was getting ready for work and I go to take my shower. And I remember just standing in the shower crying because I had to go to this place that I didn't enjoy. I had to go to this place and deal with people that I didn't want to be around. And I wasn't satisfied. I knew my situation at this job. I knew that my worth at this job wasn't valued. And I knew that because there were things that were set in play, there were discussions that were said where I understood and realized that they didn't value me. They didn't value my work. They didn't value the fact that I went above and beyond. And there was no getting a raise as far a promotion to another position. And I was pretty much stuck in this bubble that they kept me in. And the more and more I went to this job, the more and more I felt depressed. I felt stuck. I felt sad. I felt alone. I felt like no one was going to help me get out of this. And that day, I remember I called out. Now, when I call out, I don't call out a lot. When I was there, I didn't call out a lot. There were some that did. I didn't call out a lot. But when I did, it was always an issue. I learned it was always an issue within the office. But that day I called out and I laid in bed and I just cried and cried and cried because I had fought so hard to be in a different position. And I kept thinking to myself, I allowed myself to get back to where I never wanted to return. And it was eating me up inside. So after having a discussion, a much needed discussion with those within my circle, and having a discussion with my sister, I put in my 2 weeks and I left because I knew it just wasn't for me. And I finally saw that my self worth was better than what they were giving me, which was at the bare minimum. So I left. And I spoke with my doctor. And me, I'm the type, okay, I'll leave and I'll go and find another job within a couple of weeks. I'll start looking for another job. But when I spoke to my doctor, he told me I needed to take a year. I needed to take a year to work on my mental health and my depression so that it didn't return to where it was years ago. And me sitting there, first of all, leaving a job and not having anything lined up, everyone thinks it's crazy. And I thought it was crazy because I had never done it before. I always had something lined up before I left any job. And, but this time, I don't know, it just felt different. This time it felt like I needed to do this. Not for financial reasons, but mainly for my health and my well-being. And yes, a lot of you will say, you should always have something lined up. But, sometimes it's okay to deviate from what's the regular and what's the normal. And I wouldn't have taken this step had I not been supported on other ends. So as nervous as I was, I put in my 2 weeks notice. And the day I left, I probably felt the happiest I've ever felt in the past from those years of working at that job. I felt so happy because I didn't have to go in there anymore. I didn't have to go in there. I didn't have to be belittled anymore. I didn't have to be looked down upon. I didn't have to feel less than those I worked with. And now I'm able to go out there and I don't know. At that point, I didn't know. I just knew that come Monday morning, I didn't have to wake up at 7 a.m. to get ready to go to a job that I couldn't stand. And it was all because of that day, that one day. Well, it was a series of days, but that one day solidified everything for me and made it, you need to go. For those who want to leave their position or leave their job or whatever the situation may be, don't have to wait for a mental breakdown to do it, but think of your self-worth and think of what you deserve in life and what matters to you as a person. Do I miss some of my coworkers? Yes, I do, but I'm glad I took that step for my mental health, for my well-being. And you can take that step too. I'm not pushing anyone to do what I did, but you have to do what's best for you and what's right for you. And what the pandemic has actually shown us is that a lot more people are now valuing what they need in life, what they deserve in life. And on one hand, that's a good thing. Because now you can go out there and you can pursue what you want in life. Whether that's a new career that you've always wanted, or it's traveling, or it's working for yourself, which I really would love to do and I'm trying to do now. But, you can get to where you want to in life. My mental breakdown taught me that I need to value who I am more. I need to give the same help that I give everyone else to myself. And this year I worked on that. and I started that process. This is something that's not going to end, going to be fixed overnight, but for the rest of my life going forward, I know what I want for myself as a person. Um, but yeah, that was my mental breakdown, and I hadn't had one in so long. I think the last time I had a breakdown probably was when I was in my early 20s, and um, it was going to college, my first year going to college, and I had a mental breakdown. But nothing as bad as that. Nothing. It wasn't as bad as this recent one. But I learned from it, and I learned that it's okay to. So as long as you have the support and you have what you need until you get to the next job, the next goal, the next whatever it is, it's okay to put yourself first. And in that situation, I had to put myself first. And I'm glad I did. And now I'm going to start the journey again of finding a new job. And hopefully it's a job where it's dealing with writing, because I'm a writer. I love writing. It comes so natural to me. And where I can work for myself and I can set my own hours and schedule. But even if it isn't, I now know that if I get another 9 to 5, if that is the road where I get another 9 to 5 again, I know what my self-worth is. I know what I need from that 9 to 5, that next 9 to 5. I also know that, it is a temporary step before I get to my actual goal. So it's not a 7-year, 10-year, 15-year. It is just my next step, unless it's actually what I really want to do, which is be creative and be writing for other people out there and showing my talent finally. But that was my mental breakdown and little backstory of how that occurred. And wow, it's been almost a year. Almost a year. I'm actually excited to get back to working and having money in my pocket for a change. And not having, because I'm not the type of person that likes to I'm sorry, not give, likes to take. I like to do for myself. I think I learned that from my mother because she was very independent. But I like to do for myself. But that was the mental breakdown story, and how I'm sitting here today, 1 year later, about to go back into finding my next job, my next adventure. If you like to, and I hope you do, follow me on all my social media platforms. I'm mainly on Instagram. I also have Twitter. It's all in the bio down below. And if you haven't in the beginning, please click that red button down below that says subscribe and join me for my next video so that you can know when I put these things out. I have 2 weeks out before my big trip, and I'm excited. I got pretty much everything ready to go, and yeah, that was pretty much it. I hope to see you all in the next video. I can't wait. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you next time. All right, everyone. Take care.